There's so many herbs in season now, and I wanted to share with you what I do with them to make my cooking super, super delicious. So these are green garlic, just basically baby garlic with the green bits in it. It tastes milder than the strong garlic. I'm also picking some parsley here. Guys, there's no hard and fast rule. Whatever herbs you can get hold of. Okay, we get home and we wash everything. So this is what I have for my garlic salt today, for my herbal salt today. Beg your pardon. I love making garlic salt as well. We've got celery, we've got basil, we've got parsley, a little bit of thyme, a little rosemary. I don't like too much rosemary in here because it's a bit overpowering, and I want this salt to be versatile for anything. Okay, a bit of oregano, and also some celery and lovage. Lovage is like in the celery family. It tastes so. Hi, welcome to a new video. How are you doing? Thank you so much for clicking in. If this is your first time meeting me, my name is Mecca. I live in the south of England. I grew most of my vegetables, and once upon a time I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and chronic pain, and thanks to God and life-giving foods, I healed my body from all of this, okay, using nature as medicine. One of the things I had to do was eliminate, like, monosodium glutamate seasoning, basically MSG, and that affects the way we Africans cook because our food ended up tasting a little bit bland simply because we got accustomed to MSG. It's highly addictive. These are the things I've done. That's why I share about my journey in this process, and I want to let you know that it's possible to heal naturally, and it's also possible to enjoy your meals. Yes, enjoying your meals is really, really important. So we're making a herbal salt. Basically, we're using herbs in season, herbs in the garden in season. So whatever you can find. Now, salt and sodium has been linked to high blood pressure, and the incidence is higher in black, yes, black people of black, origin. So our foods are generally over seasoned and also high in salt. For us to reduce the salt, sometimes we need some flavor. We like flavor, do we? Leave a comment. We don't want bland food. So I want to show you how you can make your food flavorful. Now, you can use just plain old sea salt, which I have a video about the salts I use and why I use them, or Himalayan salt. Doesn't matter. It is pink. It might not be as bright green when you make the salt, but we're making herbal salt. Now, if you look at these, the crystals are quite big, which leaves us with room to play with, which is not a bad thing. Okie dokie, let's go ahead and process our vegetables to make this delicious herbal salt. We start by chopping up all our green herbs. I have just so many different herbs, whatever you have in season. All I try to do with things like thyme that have woody stems, I take out the woody stems, and also the large stalks in the vegetables, I take those out, so the sticks or the stems. But I don't discard it, like I'm keeping it in that bowl. I'm going to use it to make like vegetable stock or broth that you can use to cook or season your meals, and it's still super delicious. So even if you don't want to do that now, you can put it in the freezer. Now, this is green garlic. This is when it's not mature, but the white bit I don't add to this seasoning. I just separate it. You can also add it if you want a strong garlicky taste, but I don't really want that strong garlic taste. We go ahead next and we pulverize these vegetables. We want it smooth like a puree. So just blend it in whatever you have. If you have just a food processor, make sure it's really, really fine. Okay, and then at this point I add a little bit of salt for grit, and I go ahead and I puree or pulverize everything. When we have a paste, then we can mix the salt in there. I added the salt into the blender and just bliss, just like little blades, and mix the whole thing up, as you can see there. Once you've mixed all the salt with the vegetables, it's mainly infusing, so we're changing the color of the salt crystals as well as helping it preserve the vegetables, if that makes sense. Next thing I'm going to do is I use a parchment paper. I try to use bleach-free parchment papers. This is called If You Care, not an ad. It's just what I love using. And spread this as thinly as possible. You can use a dehydrator. You can do this in the sun, but UV rays will degrade your veg a little bit, not by a huge amount. Or you could just dry it in room temperature. It might just take a little longer. Guys, it doesn't take a lot of energy to dehydrate this in my oven. So spreading this whole thing out. Look at that thing. Buying the salt in the shops is so expensive. That's why I'm making it myself. And it's much better, guys, if you can. So I put this in the oven for about 10 hours. low temperature, 50 degrees Celsius, and that just dehydrates it for me gently. The next day, I bring this whole thing out and it's looking super, super, super crispy, crunchy, and perfect, but it's a little bit big. Now, you see, the other one is finer chunks. We want this chunks to be more like even and more like salt. So I just pop this in my food processor and I go ahead and I just pulverize it to make all the flakes become even, so I can spread it into my food and it dissolves quickly. And that's it, guys. This is really easy and it's so delicious. You wouldn't believe the difference it makes to your food. Look at me just making sure I'm picking every bit from my parchment paper. It makes such a huge difference to do this. Okay, next, I just blitz this, like I said, in this food processor. You don't have to, but I like it because when I'm distributing it into my meals, it's easy. And that's it. Nothing else needs doing. Once I've done that, I just put this in a container. I prefer freezing it because that way I keep it really fresh. But salt is a natural preservative, so I don't need to. If you've enjoyed this video, thumbs up for me, please, and also subscribe. Bye.